So we all saw Tom Aspinall destroy Curtis Blades, and after the fight, I was just more convinced than I was before that he will destroy Jon Jones if that fight ever happens, and I'm just more convinced than ever it's not going to. So there wasn't really much for me to say, but I really wanted to wait to see if Jon Jones would have any comment after the fight, and he did, but not on the fight itself. So yeah, it's just repeating what we've been talking about, or what people like me have been talking about all year, which is Jon Jones has so much fear of losing to Tom Aspinall that he is desperate as hell to avoid him. It is insane. And I've done other videos on that, which I'm going to show on screen for those who haven't seen them in a second. But yeah, Tom Aspinall looked about as good as he could have. I will say this, that lack of defense he has on the feet is a bit concerning, because these are heavyweights we're talking about, and I don't know when the next Francis Ngannou is going to come along, but I don't know if he's going to be able to take that if his hands are down as low as they are, but that's beside the point. He looked excellent, and Dana White in the post-fight press conference typically didn't talk about making the Jon Jones fight next. It's all about Jones-Stipe, and the winner has to fight Tom Aspinall, and I'm just going to break down in another video why Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic is not only so ridiculous, but it's another fight, and I say another because there's been another fight like this before, which I'll talk about in that video, where the two guys fighting for the belt are not only not the best guys in the division, but they have no interest in fighting the top contenders. And the other time this has happened, conveniently happened when or after the Fertittas sold the company. So go figure. And interestingly enough, the UFC put in the title of this video, Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, when they clearly knew they weren't going to make that fight. I mean, everybody knew going into this fight that the UFC wasn't going to make Jones fight Aspinall because Jones doesn't want to do it. And you can see the fans disliking this video. Even people like Luke Thomas, who are people I have been big critics of for a very, very long time. I have been critical of Luke Thomas for years, and he is a Jon Jones fanboy, really. Even he is saying in this video with Submission Radio that Tom Aspinall is the real champion, and that Jon Jones is just holding a celebrity title, pretty much. So even the fans of Jon Jones are understanding this, and I really want to hear from anybody who believes that Jon Jones is the real champion, because it's about as fictional as you can get, in my opinion. And this is the tweet that Jon Jones put out after the fight. As you can see here from Full Mount MMA, he does break silence, but as in he puts a tweet out there, but it's not about the actual fight. You can see here, supply and demand at its finest. I love it. Conveniently not talking about Tom Aspinall. And again, I've done videos all year talking, in the short time I've been on YouTube, talking about how pathetic Jon Jones' ducking of Tom Aspinall is. This video I did 2 months ago talking about how he was desperate to avoid Tom Aspinall. I went through all of his tweets, and there were two series of tweets that I went through. One, or actually no, three, but two I went through in this particular video. One was his series of tweets at the very start of the year, where he went on a crusade to paint Tom Aspinall out to be a villain, act like a victim, and then he called Tom Aspinall the victim. Could you imagine? And yeah, it was just insane gaslighting to the most extreme. I mean, I'm struggling to find words to describe how embarrassing it was, but Jon Jones has no shame. So I went through that. I also went through his tweets where he tried to fight, or he tried to get the fans interested in a fight with Alex Pereira, and how that was just another ducking tactic. It was ridiculous. I went through the tweets where he wanted to fight Alex Pereira again in this particular video, if you want a shorter one. And then I talked about Jon Jones making fun of Tom Aspinall losing to Curtis Blades. We can pause that. Last year, if you can call that a loss. I mean in 2022, where he blew his knee out. Because for those of you who haven't seen it, Jon Jones not only put out a tweet of the 15-second fight, but he put out a series of tweets here, as I'm showing, talking about how he believes that Curtis Blades is better than Tom Aspinall, and Aspinall needs to worry about what Curtis Blades could do to him, and he's like, oh, I'm really concerned here, guys. And again, I called it a scumbag move because it was nothing more than a pathetic way to mock Tom Aspinall and laugh at the guy who he is too scared to fight. So yeah, just again, completely embarrassing from Jon Jones that he would put a tweet out mocking somebody's injury, claim that he's doing it because he actually thinks Curtis Blades is the better fighter and Curtis Blades could beat Tom Aspinall, and he's acting and pretending like, oh, I'm really concerned about Tom Aspinall's defense. I think he's going to get caught. I think he's going to get stopped. If he loses, I wouldn't be surprised. He was just desperate for Tom Aspinall to lose. And now that Tom Aspinall not only won, but looked amazing and called him out very respectfully afterwards, very much like how he was respectful when he confronted Jon Jones to his face, Jon Jones is finding ways to not talk about it. I'm just repeating what people have been saying all year, what I've been saying all year, so I feel like a broken record, but it does need to be talked about, even if it is ridiculous, and we've all mentioned it plenty of times. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts down below about Jon Jones's absolute fear of Tom Aspinall, and how big of a duck is this? Because I've already called it the biggest duck of all time, and it just looks like it's separating from the other ducks we've seen in MMA history more and more and more over time. So drop your thoughts down below, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more, guys. Catch you later.